Welcome, Hop Nation. Today, I'm extremely excited to have guest Sabrina Runbeck from Houston. You're still in Houston, right, Sabrina?
Yeah, I am still here.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining us on the show today. Now, for those that don't already know Sabrina, I'm going to give you a bit of bio. I met Sabrina back in January when we were both part of a conference she was speaking at as well. And this is what her one-page bio says on her. After overcoming burnout working in heart and lung surgery, Sabrina Runbeck became an international peak performance keynote speaker and advisor, helping private practice owners and their teams develop mental fitness. She's still practicing in surgery and empowering other healthcare leaders to have a double win in work and life. That's why people call her the Queen of Performance and Productivity. She's the host of the Powerful and Passionate Healthcare Professionals podcast and is an international best-selling author, featured on Thrive Global, Authority Magazine, Kevin MD, Fox, CBS, and ABC. So welcome, Sabrina.
Thank you so much, Corey, for having me being on your show. And thanks everyone for listening in. We know you can be doing anything and you choose us. So we appreciate you for investing in yourself and giving us some of your time.
Well, we appreciate you. And I can see you're actually wearing scrubs and you're in the hospital taking a break to be on this show. So this is absolutely fantastic. And we thank you for this. Now, Sabrina, with that introduction, I want you to tell a little more depth and background in behind, your founder story and how did you find yourself on the path you're on now?
Yeah, I was a little nonstop busy bee type of a person, right? The people who who just restless, who always got something going on and always get things done miraculously. Only child, only girl in the family. All my cousins are male. So the traditional Asian family are, hey, you're a girl, be smart, get a job, marry off, you're pretty set. And my rebellious tendency is like, heck no. And that's just not how I picture a life to be. Stay home mom with kids. I just couldn't set that in. And I feel like that was the reason my first marriage didn't work out, is that, well, I still have so much more inside myself. So 2 bachelors, 2 masters, got into medicine. And I was fortunate that I always got jobs and got things lined up. And before I even concluded my next thing. So I was just so excited to go into heart and lung surgery because I thought heart disease is #1 killer in the whole world. And surgery is something that we can actually prolong people's lifespan and also improve their quality of life. Now, it's not an all be all, but it is dramatic. When people come to us, there's not that many options. And because that intensity that people don't take holidays from being sick, and we start noticing we also don't take break from holidays, right? That go into
and Sabrina, we're in the middle of a pandemic where healthcare professionals like you are stretched beyond where we've ever seen it too. So on behalf of all of us out there, we need to show our appreciation to all of you in healthcare, but for you for carrying a torch to help through not just times like this, but through all the times, but especially needed, I think, at times like this.
And you're so correct. Even before pandemic, we knew that burnout in the healthcare arena compared to average American is 200% higher. And then after the pandemic, a new research even compared across global that is 60% even higher increase in people feeling stressed out, overwhelmed. And we also shown that earlier day, we have lack of support in how to even overcome that. So recent years has been a huge topic. People become more open to talk about this. So our traditional way where I was working 80 plus hours, you're taking calls every day, and you feel the sense of responsibility. If I don't show up, who's going to show up? And I was getting into that spiral as well. I remember one day, hardly 8 o'clock in the morning, I was just already exhausted because I had a fever the night before. I'm still scrubbing in with my hands inside the patient's open chest, operating. And so while my nurses hearing, "Ooh, Sabrina's hacking away. Let's give you some medication while you're scrubbed in," I'm just drained and trying to focus all that I can just to get through the day. And the next day come, couldn't get out of bed, covered with night sweat, and finally I have to convince myself, well, I guess I couldn't do it. Even though I have cases, we needed to find the first assist. But the other side becomes when I call my boss, "Oh, you didn't thought to plan this out. You didn't thought to tell us sooner. Like we can plan out our sick day. Like you didn't know people are sick the day before." So I think the contact of who we are.
And this is a healthcare professional who said this, which is somewhat comical. Like it's sad, but at the same time, it's a little comical that someone who should know, the absurdity in that comment.
Because we are doing the same thing, right? No matter which field you go into, we become this superhuman, and we become the person who's supposed to solve it, just show up, just do everything. And instead of, we are just a human. We have our own issues and we can overcome them, yes, but there are still going to be things that stop us. So we should still treat ourselves like how we treat our patients. And the saying that always, "Oh, treat others like how you treat yourself." Actually, that's not true. You definitely treat other people so much better than how you treat yourself. So I realized all this chaos is because I say yes continuously to the things that robbing my sanity, time, and energy. And at the end of the day, I had to really just admit that to start. And then went back to my background, which is in neuroscience and public health. And back 10 years ago, I already studied this thing. Somehow I lost them, right? I studied on self-management, stress management, self-efficacy, self-care. We somehow, even though we become so knowledgeable in all these topics, but when we put in a certain environment, we forgot all about them.
Well, if we don't use it, we atrophy, right? And, we know that with muscles and our body, but also memory skills, language, right? People lose their ability to speak second languages if they aren't using it. So, it makes total sense, especially in that environment. And it's one thing to know at a knowledge-based level, another to actually walk the talk and practice. And I know I'm guilty of that consistently, right? And I love how you're saying, like, we're all human. And I always like to joke that none of us walk on water unless it's frozen. And we need to get over this social media face that I think people want to put on, and the pressure and expectations around that. And I think part of what your boss probably did was, because of previous behaviors and patterns, it created an expectation. So when something was off of the normal, or we want to change for the better, it's naturally questioned, I think.
You're so right. We all feel like everything should just taken care of. And when something different, slightly off track, and it become unease in ourselves, right? It's not part of the routine. It's not part of our comfort. And now I have to do a little bit of extra work to find that solution, even though we have this contingency in place, right? I talk about this with my clients, the same thing. Their front desk people, their family got sick, especially COVID time. or someone just had a change of heart. They are finding a new career path. And I'm gonna find this person. Oh my goodness, right? And that anxiety level comes in, and the stress and the judgments start coming in. Oh, I can't believe they're being with me for 2 years and they're leaving me. Somehow it seemed as a personal attack instead of, no, everyone has their own course of life. We have to let them be them. And I felt like at that moment, I started realizing, wow, there's so much more to me than just being a clinician. There's so much more to me just go in and out. There's so much more to me just be glued to my phone and be available 24/7. And that's the change.
Excellent. Well, I would love to hear more about the double win in work and life and what you refer to in your practice as the heck yeah life and what that means.
I believe double win means life is not seeking balance. You cannot put anything on a balance being expecting it will level off. But life means creating harmony. And when you tap into harmony, that means you are intentional about all these 10 key components of life. That creates harmony, that creates double win. So you can be as passionate as you want to in your life, means your personal mission, your family, your spirituality, and your physical health, your mental fitness, right? Who you are as a person. And you can still have that professional side of social support, your knowledge.
Excellent. Excellent. And, I love this creating harmony because I don't even like the term balance when I talk about work-life balance or, what's the other one? Work-life balance. Oh, time management. I mean, time is time. We don't manage time. That's something you see in movies and like going backwards or forwards. So we need to get over that. And it's about priority management and energy management around that. And when we're in a place of peace and harmony is the result, and that feeling of what others call balance, you call harmony, and I call, wholeness almost, and that feeling of peace that comes with that. So that's
exactly.
awesome.
That's a combination of knowing even I only have 10 minutes to myself, I can be completely just for myself and not feeling like I still have 10 notes to finish. I still have to check my emails. Oh, there's a bunch of people I haven't responded to and they really need me, right? Like whatever that we have is become super intentional and give ourselves that quality of time when we present to that one piece of us. And when we look into career, it's same thing. Let's take away all the expectation from other people and actually understand what is that we wanted to create. And while we're doing that, we still have to remember it's not just that we have all these certification, this alkali made X amount of revenue. Oh yeah, I finally hit my target. But those happiness don't last, right? Every time I ask someone, it's like, remember the last time you were super happy, you're jumping up and down, right? Whether it's you got married, you had a big promotion, you got the favorite car that you wanted. How long did it last? No one ever said months to years. Mostly the longest people would say, oh yeah, maybe a couple weeks. So we have to be able to find a way to sustain our joy, our satisfaction and fulfillment, and not feeling like we're constantly hitting a target and or judge ourselves for how come you're not hitting those targets fast enough.
Absolutely. I love that. Now, how do you define this heck yeah life? What's that all about?
I always believe you have to say no to almost everything. Then you can say heck yes to the only things that bring you joy and light you up. And then you truly just do it with ease. For some people, you probably heard about Freedom Compass, what Michael Hyatt talked about, right? So the compass talks about you have the desire zone, distraction zone, disinterest, and joyful zone. And we're supposed to go 20-80 rule, 80% in our desire zone. And that desire zone is the heck yes. Means when you are in that zone, everything is miraculous, right? And then when you say no, it's also a strong no. It's okay not to explain why you're saying no to someone. And you don't have to make up an excuse for it. You can nicely say, I'm sorry, this is not aligned to what I see in my vision, in my mission, or in my current projection. Best of luck for when you need to find someone. And if someone in my network can support you, please let me know. I'm happy to make that introduction. But we don't have to just agree to a project, to a venture because they sound good. And when it sounds good, guess what? That's a distraction, because that could be something that's interesting, but you don't have a natural talent or natural resource and time for it. And if it's you have the natural talent, you feel like, oh, you can do it pretty fast, but you don't enjoy doing, then it's a disinterest that will kill your momentum. And if neither the talent, resource, passion, and joy, then it's joyful. And it's almost bizarre to me that most people come to me, they're like, oh, Sabrina, I feel like I do like 80-90% thing that just joyful. I just don't want to do. Like, okay, let's talk about this. What are these things? How come you're still doing them? Right? One of my clients I just spoke to over the weekend, we talk about how to cut down the chaotic calendar. And guess what? The number one thing is cleaning the house, because she feels like, well, I just came back from vacation. My husband is a mess. Now I have to go to clinic, but I feel like I have to clean the house before the cleaning lady even show up, or re-clean it after they do it. And I'm like, okay, what's the anxiety in that? Why are you doing this? Right? The answer would be, oh, I want to clean because I don't want them to feel like we're such a messy people. And then I counter with, don't you think they desensitized to all that already? Just like when we see gross wounds, right? We're still eating food while we're seeing these slides and pictures, right? It doesn't bother us. So of course, your cleaning lady, your house attendee would not be bothered. That's what they do every day.
I love that. And, as you're talking, I was thinking about the expression, the reward for fruits of our labor. And while you're talking, the idea of, almost to grow, we always think, oh, we want more fruit, we want bigger, better, and it's all add twos. But in order to do this in life and have that harmony, if you think of fruit, there's pruning. And pruning is getting rid of some of the stuff that's not growing in the right direction or holding back bigger, better growth. And I can see how you're applying it with the practice, with your individuals. Now, I want you to tell the audience a bit about the book you wrote. And the title is Women Who Boss Up: Secrets from Women Who Are Finding Their Own Path and Thriving. And I know this is based on your own journey and what you want to now take, from your own inspiration of turning that situation of burnout into inspiration and positive change for others. Can you talk a bit about the book?
Yeah, thank you. So the book actually came out really at a prime time last year in the spring, where the Asian hate crime has increased 120%, while the average crime rate decreased by 90%. Just because the COVID pandemic, many people are still unsure about what is going on from social media, news, people creating different stories, because that's how we cope, right? We don't know. something, we hear about it, and by secondhand, by whatnot, and we create a story that's trying to make sense to us. And therefore, if we have some kind of target, it almost make us feel more comfortable because there's a reason to XYZ. And the book came out, actually, there are 18 of us, all Asian women in that particular book. And all of us trying to say that stereotypical good citizen, but it doesn't mean we all have to be in these traditional paths of being a mom, being a doctor, being a lawyer, being an engineer, right? Those are somehow the acceptable careers. But actually, all the ladies, one of them used to be a doctor of physical therapy, became a money mindset coach. And another one is award-winning podcaster. Another one is a filmmaker. We have chefs in there. Yeah, we have lawyers. I'm the only one in medicine still practicing. Now, every single career, every single path that we've gone on is our own. It defines us. And also culture doesn't necessarily define us. It's simply part of us, right? We're still our individual self. And doesn't matter which culture you came from. And so that become a path for us to show that I also talk about, yes, I gone through the burnout. I didn't want to leave the career. If we all leave medicine, who's going to take care of us when we grow older, right? And then who's going to take care of the rest population? It's about how do we tap into the next level? How do we get over the hump and keep going so we know we can be appreciated the way that we want to be appreciated? We can do things and not feeling stretched thin all the time. You're constantly putting out fire, having 10,000 things on your to-do list, and you feel bad about that. You can't never make them go down to less than 10 things, right? And actually, I did that big change in my life. Now I realized I can still make a very good living in medicine, but I cut down my hours really by third. My revenue actually increasing because I found new ways that people can retrain their brain in a certain way that actually gain time back and actually have more of a productivity outcome. And so it's not that we are unable to do these things. We're just never trained. We're always trained to be the best clinician, doing scientific studies, understanding where our patient coming from, make sure we're supporting our team, make sure we have a family that we're supporting. But how are we mastering our own self, cutting down the decision fatigue so we can actually get somewhere that we want to go and not feeling like it just hamster wheel, right? Constantly the same thing yet another day, let's go eat, sleep, work, and wake up again.
I love it. And, in your own story and the story that you're sharing, something I share with, my executive coaching clients is, sometimes a setback's actually a setup. And that setback in the burnout was actually a setup that inspired you for change first in your own life and searching for those answers, but then a growth into sharing and that ripple of impact. We always hear about ROI and think it's just return on investment of money or time, but I think that's the small benefit there. The big benefit is really a ripple of impact that can be created, when we reach place of harmony or blessing, we're then better able to be a blessing to others. And I love that you're doing that sort of work and that women, were speaking up, and that I didn't realize it was all Asian women. And, being in the US, I know during the pandemic, there was certain leaders, calling COVID an Asian-based flu, and I'm not even going to repeat it because it's inappropriate, and that's not a political statement on my behalf. I just think anytime you're tying any identity to something with very clear harmful repercussions, and that's just dangerous in general. And I'm glad that you took what could be a negative and turned it into power and positivity, and commend you for that. Now, you're someone who has to be on a lot of times and have found this harmony, but what are, a few of your own success principles that you would share with the audience?
Number one thing I truly believe in is getting down to what actually means to you to be in that desire zone. And it's okay not to compare how we feel good about things to what other people, right? They're on a different stage of life. I always believe maybe we're on step 5, someone else on step 50. Then their version of success, we don't have to compare the success level of step 5 to their 50. We'll eventually get there. And how fast, how slow, that's on us. It has nothing to do with anybody else. And even just start from there, just be honest with yourself about what that version of ideal life, and if you got down to it, what that means to you. That's number one.
I love it. Love it. What else you got for us?
And number two is when we're thinking about efficiency, people always think about time management. You're so right. It's self-management. It's the energy management. So we have to know how to quickly reboot your energy. I always say, do the 2-minute mental mini vacation. What I call that is because it's exercise that we can do both from your breathing, your sensory. That means one of your 5 senses. If you kind of concentrate on just one, let's say touch, right? Bring your heart rate down by having a quick breath in, slow breath out. Even just that, if you think about palpitation, anxiety, is because you have shallow breath that's too fast. If we can slow down our breath and then concentrate on that one sense, nothing else, and then you can realize every other thought, just let them pass you. And you'll be surprised. When I did one of those exercises with an ICU nurse that just came off a 12-hour shift, she's like, Sabrina, this feels so good. I'm gonna feel like I can stay up the whole day and not need to sleep. I'm like, probably not a good idea, but for you to feel that good, then think about doing more of those 2 minutes throughout your shift, right? Throughout the day. Become a non-negotiable break. That's crucial for us to slow down in order to speed up. Right.
I love it. And I share that sometimes we need to go slow to go fast. So I love it. And the 2 systems, I think Daniel Kahneman talks about it, and think fast and slow.
And the last thing I believe is when you need to get things done, people are always surprised, like, wow, you just somehow your life seems like you're always doing something. Well, I'm always doing something for a purpose. I can be sitting on the couch petting my dog Ella, but that's intentional, right? And so if I actually have something that need to be done, right? I'm intentional about keeping touch with people. So Monday I planned out is for all my collaboration partners. Tuesday can be my potential clients. Wednesday can be my Dream 100 that I even wanted to be on my podcast, right? So every day is a thing, then it become a time blocked. If it's not on calendar, it won't happen. Even if it's on your calendar, some people still don't do it. So that means what? You have to create some type of alert to make yourself do it. And once that alert goes off, another thing my client always love, I have this little clock, right? And I buy it for them too. So instead of do it on your phone because it's distracting. If you put alarm on your phone, let's say set 30 minutes, oh, that message come in, that email, and oh, that apps alert, right? No, just have a standard desk alarm where you just flip and they go directly to a 5-minute, 15-minute, or 20-minute, 45-minute hour block. And that means you don't do nothing but this one task. Once that alarm goes off, you stop no matter what. But before that alarm goes off, you only concentrate on that one thing. You'll be surprised that block feels actually really, really long, right? So I have people even do 15-minute blocks versus 30-minute blocks, and that's it. You actually don't want it to do more than maximum 60 minutes. We know by scientific study, the primary concentration is about that 20 minutes. So if you can just do that one thing turn off all your alarm, you can get so much more things done.
Absolutely. And I love it. And I mean, Cal Newport, talks about in deep work and his research, but there's a ton of researchers. And I know that that's an area that I'm focused in on, and, using both the neurotech and neuroscience, which I know you're passionate about, to look at brain health and cognitive functioning speed, but also the effect it has on focus as a proxy for performance and actual health too. And then combining that with, Pomodoro and that focused intensity, but then, knowing when to take the foot off the gas is equally as important as leaning in, but all in, right? Because we can get a lot more done when we're absolutely focused like that. So, I mean, that's straight up that's that double win that I hear you talking about, because it definitely drives performance. And I know performance side, but I also know the health side as well, from the neuroscience and the neurocognitive functioning side. So, and your breathing and the tactile functioning and the 2-minute stuff. I know you've done stuff on positive intelligence, and, I have the app, and, have seen Shirzad from Stanford talk about it. So I love this. Now, in the last little bit of time we have with you, so you can get back to work and saving lives, I always like to ask our guests, if you're celebrating your 100th birthday, who do you want there, and what do you want them saying about you?
I feel like there's so many people that I want to be at my birthday. Each year, I actually intentionally plan something to have all my friends with me. But if I'm 100 and then I can live that long, actually, I don't really mind who's in the room, because at least I already lived 100. But for the people who I have been learning from, and I learned from Brendon Burchard, his energy is just so bubbly, and he has so much to say. And going to his conference, he can be up there for 8 hours, and it doesn't show that he's tired at all, right? I would love to see him over there. And another mentor of mine, Darren Hardy, from also a productivity business side, and the intensity of who he is very different from Brendon Burchard, but it's also someone who I just want to know more of. And now other people, again, it becomes, I just wanted to people who actually in that time frame of my life, who actually also reciprocally care about me, right? And it's about creating a good positive vibe. And I believe that both from interpersonal, from your core people of family, friends, and also professional life, that one bad apple is not worth it to keep around. And because that shows for other people that you allow someone to push your boundary, to actually lower other people's energy, lower other people's performance. And it's not worth your energy and people that you actually care about. So I'm always about, hey, asking the right question. What is it important to you to be in that collaborative partnership? And if we have that synergy, amazing, we can create something wonderful. And even we don't do the same thing, we're not serving the same clients, you probably know someone that in my circle that will create amazing things with. And that's my whole principle of using relationship economic to actually collaborate to accelerate.
I love it. Relationship economics. One of my good friends and colleagues is Ed Wallace, who developed the RQ assessment in relational capital. So, and, doing stuff with Brian Kramer right now, who's, H to H in the human to human movement that he started originally in tech, which is wild to think. So I appreciate it. Any last words you'd like to say to the audience? And I will make sure that we put links to your website, the book, and how to get in touch with you. And anyone especially professionals in the healthcare field or hardworking women professionals, especially, that's a direct fit for you, I know. So we'll make sure we make that accessible. But any last words for you, Sabrina?
Oh, I wanted to go back to what we talked about in the middle of the show. We have to say no more often. Pretty much say no to just about everything. Then we can truly have that heck yes life. And every time we say yes, it feels good and it doesn't feel forced. And every time we say no, we can trust ourselves to be in that round of every no is a new opportunity.
I love it. And thank you very much, Sabrina, for taking the time today and not saying no to coming on this podcast. And I appreciate the invite to your podcast. I will definitely be going on and filling out the application after this, and look forward to maybe having you back in the future and being part of a panel discussion if you're up for it.
Thank you so much, Corey. And thanks everyone for listening in.
Thank you. And thank you, Hawk Nation. Look forward to seeing you next week.